get your paintbrushes or markers ready, because today we crafting.
Lead on, lead on, lead on, because we're Moorelands kids. Lead on, lead on, lead on, and we know where we're going. Yeah, we're all here to spread some cheer and help you all to grow. With our HQs and me and you, come with us and you'll know. Lead on, lead on, lead on, because we're Moorelands kids. Lead on, lead on, lead on, and we know where we're going.
Hey everyone, Jodi here. We are going to be crafting today, so hold tight. First, we're going to go over our habit and quality of the week. Our habit being achieve more together, and our quality being trustworthiness. These are very important things, as all of our HQs are, and we just need to make sure that we're keeping them in mind, especially while we're living together in probably what we're not used to when it comes to a lot of close quarters. So achieve more together is really about working together for a common goal and using everyone's strengths, which is great. It sometimes can be hard to share your strengths, so you need to make sure that you are being reliable in sharing what they are. Trustworthiness is all about your reputation, which you build while you're doing those things. And it can be very hard to build your reputation, but it can be a little bit easier to take that reputation away if you've made a mistake. So we just need to make sure we're being honest and accountable, which is great. A simple way to think about these things is that I know that I don't have that many color paints at home. I've thankfully got all of our primary colors. And what I know about them is that they are great on their own as the colors that they are. But with their reputation and with the rules that we know about paint, if we mix them together, we can get a bunch of other colors that I'll be able to use. And I can trust that they're going to do that. So paint might seem like a little bit of a silly thing to consider, but it works not just for us, but also for them as well. So what you're going to need today for our activity today, obviously some paint if you have it. If you don't, that's okay. Markers works as well. We also need painter's tape or masking tape. I had this, so I'm going to use this. Because my tape is so thick, I'm going to need some scissors. I have a paintbrush and a bowl that I'm going to put some water in so I can clean my brush, and then I just have an old tray to mix my paints in. So that is what you're going to need today to get started for our paint art or our tape art.
Right, to start off, I did forget to mention that you'll also need some paper to paint or draw on. I also want to mention that I didn't have a drop cloth to protect the table from my paints, so I have put down some old newspaper just to make sure that I'm being trustworthy and taking care of everything around me. For my first picture, I'm going to use my paints to make a sunset, as I feel like I can blend my colors that I have nicely that way. The thing to keep in mind is that wherever you put the tape, it will be white or whatever color your paper is. So for this painting, I will be using the tape to outline the horizon, the sun, and the sun rays. And I've also added little pieces in the water to add waves to add some finer details. As you can see, my tape is too big, so I'm going to continue to use scissors to trim it to the size that I want. Feel free to do the same, so that way you make sure you get the image that you have in your vision. My second image with my markers is going to be a night scene with a tent near some water. Once again, keeping in mind that wherever the tape goes will be white. So I've used this to outline the tent, the rock, a tree, and water. I've also used the little pieces to add details to the rock, and I've added some to the sky so that it looks like there's stars in the sky. Feel free to replicate these images and make them exactly like this as you want, or create your own. Your imagination with this activity is really your limit. So as long as you're keeping in mind that wherever you put the tape down will be white, your image should turn out wonderfully. Once you have finished your painting or your drawings and you've blended all the colors the way that you wanted and you're happy with the way it looks, it might be tempting to take the tape off immediately, but you do need to make sure that the paper has dried. So the best solution is to leave it overnight and do your picture reveal the next morning.
Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I love taking a little craft break. It really brightens up my day. This one is special too because then you get the dramatic reveal, because you might think you know what it looks like once the paint or markers have dried, but I love being able to pull off the tape and see the final image. It's a little bit more fun that way. The one thing I can say is that if you are doing it, what I just learned from working my paper was that if you have tape that's layered over top of each other like I did, make sure you still take the time to take it off piece by piece, because if you're trying to rip off too many layers at once, it still will rip the paper even if it's not painter's tape. So here are my final images. Here's the marker one. That's where you can see that I ripped it a little bit. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but I can see it through the paper even. And like I said before, the tape really just adds the outline as the white of the paper, but if you use a different color, you might be able to enhance it. I was thinking these are supposed to be stars. I might be tempted to just color them in with a little bit of yellow, but I was quite happy with how the marker one turned out. And then here is my paint one. I really do enjoy painting if I'm going to be coloring. It's kind of it's my favorite one out of markers and crayons. I'm really pleased with the way this one turned out because I was able to blend the colors that I had so that they work together to create the sunset, and you're able to see the water in a clear definition of what it's supposed to be. So I really hope you've enjoyed that today. I'm going to go hang mine up on the wall, and I'll see you later. But for right now, Moorelands kids, we out.